The spaceship Aurora descended slowly through Zira 7's atmosphere, its hull glowing under the light of the planet's twin suns. Humans had been searching for a new home, and this world seemed promising. Its endless fields of tall, green grass stretched farther than the eye could see. Strange plants glowed softly at night, lighting up the horizon with colors no one had seen before. Among the colonists was Nico, a young biologist with a curious mind. Nico pressed their face against the viewport, eyes wide with excitement. The grass moved like waves, though there was no wind. Small flickers of light darted between the plants, but Nico could not tell if they were animals or some kind of plant reaction. "This place is incredible," Nico said quietly. "It feels alive in a way I have never felt before." Beside Nico, Commander Rana, a tall and steady figure, nodded. "Stay focused. Amazing as it is, this world can be dangerous. Our first task is to set up the colony and ensure we have shelter and food. The beauty can wait." The Aurora landed on a flat plateau surrounded by the tall grass. Colonists began unloading supplies, setting up modular shelters, and scanning the environment. Nico stepped onto the soft, springy ground. The grass brushed against their legs like gentle fingers. Small glowing insects hovered above the tips of the plants, their lights blinking in patterns that seemed almost intentional. Nico wandered away from the main camp, notebook in hand. Each step through the grass made a faint rustling sound. Nico bent down to examine a strange flower that pulsed with a green light. The flower seemed to react to Nico's touch, closing slightly before reopening. Nico wrote carefully in the notebook, sketching the unusual plant and making notes about its movement. As Nico looked up, they froze. Something was moving in the grass far ahead. It was fast, gliding silently between the stalks. At first, Nico thought it was a small animal, maybe a native herbivore. But its movements were too precise, too deliberate. Nico watched for several moments. Whatever it was, it had noticed them too. A shadow flickered and vanished before Nico could see its shape clearly. Nico's heart beat faster. "Commander," they called into the radio. "I think I just saw something in the grass. It might be large. I can't tell what it is." "Stay calm," Commander Rana replied. "Do not approach it. Report back your location and observations." Nico backed slowly toward the camp, eyes scanning the grass. When they reached the edge, other colonists looked up from their work. "Did you see it?" Nico asked. "See what?" a technician said, wiping sweat from their forehead. "There is nothing there but grass." Nico hesitated, unsure if they had imagined it. But the feeling in their stomach told them it was real. Something was watching them from the tall green waves. The rest of the day passed with humans setting up tents, solar panels, and communication equipment. Nico kept glancing toward the grass, feeling uneasy. As night fell, the colony's lights glowed softly against the darkening fields. Bioluminescent plants lit up like stars across the horizon. Nico could not sleep. They walked to the edge of the camp, listening. A soft rustle came from the tall grass. Nico froze. Then a small shadow moved, disappearing again before their eyes could catch it. Nico realized the creature, whatever it was careful and intelligent. It did not want to be seen but was curious about the humans. The next morning, the colony organized an expedition to map the surrounding area. Nico joined, carrying field instruments and a scanner. The team moved carefully into the tall grass, noting the strange flora and glowing insects. The grass reached higher than their heads, making it difficult to see more than a few steps ahead. As they moved, Nico noticed small signs of something else. Broken stalks bent at strange angles, faint tracks pressed into the soft ground, and a few scattered patches of glowing plants seemed disturbed. Nico knelt to inspect them. The tracks did not match any animal they knew. They were too large for a rabbit or similar herbivore, and too neat for a wild animal. "Look at this," Nico said to Commander Ronette. These tracks are recent. Something is moving through the grass. Something big. Commander Ronette studied the ground carefully. We have to be cautious. Keep the scanners active and maintain the perimeter. We cannot afford surprises. Nico felt a thrill of excitement mixed with fear. The idea that the planet held creatures they did not understand was both terrifying and fascinating. They spent hours collecting samples and observing the strange environment. Everywhere they turned, the planet seemed alive, almost aware of their presence. By afternoon, the team returned to the camp with their samples. Nico was restless, staring at the grass. The sun reflected off the tips, making them look like green fire. The wind picked up slightly, but some movements in the grass did not match the breeze. Nico's instincts told them the creature was close, watching and waiting. As the day ended, Nico sat alone near a small glowing pond. The reflections of the plants shimmered on the water's surface. The rustle of the grass grew louder. Nico stood, heart pounding, and peered into the shadows. For a brief moment, two glowing eyes stared back. Then they vanished into the night. Nico's mind raced. They knew the colony had a mission to explore and settle, but the presence of this unknown predator changed everything. Humans were not just visitors here. They were intruders in a land that had its own rules and dangers. Nico returned to the camp quietly. The lights were dim, and most colonists were asleep. They recorded their observations, noting the tracks, movements, and glowing eyes. One thought kept returning to Nico's mind: understanding this creature could mean the difference between survival and disaster. The first night on Zyrus 7 ended with humans dreaming of a beautiful, mysterious world. But in the tall, silent grass, a predator moved with purpose, observing the newcomers. Its shadow disappeared into the darkness, leaving only the soft whisper of grass swaying. Nico did not yet know that the creature's patience was long, and its intelligence was sharp. The humans had arrived, but Zyrus 7 had noticed them first. The dance of curiosity and caution was about to begin, and the silent predator waited, hidden in the grass. The next morning, Zyrus 7 welcomed the colony with a soft, golden light. The tall grass swayed gently under the twin suns, and small glowing plants lit the edges of the paths the colonists had cleared. Nico felt a mix of excitement and unease as they prepared for another day of exploration. The team's first task was to check the grazing robots. These machines were designed to collect samples of the strange vegetation and report back to the colony. Nico walked alongside Mara, a technician, toward the field where the robots worked. "It is strange," Nico said. "Yesterday, I thought I saw something in the grass. It moved too fast and too silently to be any normal animal." Mara shrugged. "Maybe it is just a new species of insect or bird. The planet is full of surprises." But Nico did not feel reassured. They stopped when they reached the grazing area. One of the robots was missing. Its tracks ended abruptly in the tall grass, as if it had been picked up and carried away. Nico knelt to examine the ground. "These tracks are not normal," Nico said quietly. "Something large passed through here. Look at the way the grass is bent. It is careful, but it leaves marks behind." Commander Rana arrived with a small group of colonists. "What is going on?" he asked. "One of the robots is missing," Nico replied. "These tracks do not match any known animal. It is intelligent. It knows how to move without being seen easily." Commander Rana frowned. "Then we have to assume it is a predator. Stay close to the group and do not go into the tall grass alone. Everyone, double the patrols around the camp." The colonists moved with caution, keeping the missing robot in mind. Nico stayed near the edges of the field, scanning the grass with binoculars. The rustling movements seemed almost deliberate, as if something was watching, studying them. Hours passed with no sign of the predator. Nico was frustrated and curious. "If it is intelligent," they said, "we can learn from it." Maybe it is not just dangerous but clever. We need to observe it carefully. Commander Rana nodded. Observation is important, but safety comes first. Do not take risks. Late in the afternoon, Nico decided to set up a small series of motion sensors along the edges of the grasslands. They carefully placed each device while keeping their eyes on the moving shadows. The sensors would record any movement that passed, helping them understand the predator's patterns. As Nico returned to the camp, a soft alarm sounded from one of the sensors. Nico ran toward it and saw a faint shadow moving fast through the grass. It was not like anything they had seen before. Sleek, almost invisible, it moved with grace and purpose. Nico froze, heart pounding. The predator was closer than before. Then it stopped. Two glowing eyes appeared for a brief moment before disappearing again. Nico's mind raced. This was no ordinary creature. It could plan, hide, and watch. The realization made the hairs on the back of their neck stand up. Nico hurried to Commander Ronette. It is not a wild animal, they said. It watches us. It learns. We need to understand it before it makes the next move. Ronette studied Nico with concern. Then we must act carefully. I will organize a small team to track it safely. You will come with me and help with observation. No one goes alone into the grass. As the sun set, the colony gathered to prepare. Lights were set up along the camp perimeter, and teams were assigned to watch the grasslands. Nico felt both fear and excitement. For the first time, they were going to see the predator face to face, without putting the whole colony at risk. That night, the grass seemed alive with movement. Nico stayed on a small rise overlooking the fields. The glowing plants reflected the light from the camp, creating shadows that danced across the grass. Then they saw it. The predator moved with incredible speed, gliding silently between the stalks. Its body was sleek and covered with scales that reflected the dim light. Nico's breath caught. The creature paused near one of the motion sensors, studying it. It tilted its head, as if trying to understand what the humans had placed in its territory. Slowly, it reached out a claw and touched the device. The sensor beeped, but the predator did not flinch. Instead, it examined it carefully before moving away, vanishing into the darkness. This is remarkable, Nico whispered. It is not attacking. It is curious. It is learning from us. Commander Rana nodded. Yes, but curiosity can turn into danger if we are careless. We must remain alert and anticipate its behavior. Over the next few days, Nico and the team continued to study the predator. They set traps, sensors, and cameras to record its movements. Each night, the creature tested their setups, moving carefully, avoiding the traps, and disappearing without a trace. One morning, the colony awoke to find another grazing robot missing. The predator had struck again, taking the machine silently. The colonists were tense, but Nico noticed a pattern. The predator avoided humans and only targeted unattended machines. It was cautious, avoiding direct confrontation, but testing their defenses. This proves it is intelligent, Nico said. It is learning what we can and cannot do. We are being studied as much as it is being observed. Commander Rana gathered the team. Then we will use that knowledge. We will track it, understand it, and prepare for the day it decides to challenge us directly. Our strength is in our minds and our planning. That is what will keep us safe. Nico nodded, feeling both fear and excitement. Humanity had landed on a world unlike any other. It was beautiful, dangerous, and full of mysteries. The predator in the grass was a reminder that survival would depend on intelligence, observation, and teamwork. As the sun set again, Nico stood at the edge of the grass, watching the shadows move. Somewhere in the tall green waves, the silent predator was waiting, learning, and planning. Nico knew that the humans had arrived, but this world had noticed them first. The encounter had begun, and neither side would forget it. The morning sun rose over Zyra 7, casting long shadows across the waving green grass. Nico woke early, feeling a mixture of excitement and unease. The colony was still recovering from the loss of the grazing robots, and everyone knew the predator was clever. It had been observing them, testing their defenses, and learning their routines. Nico joined Commander Rana and a small team of colonists for a patrol into the tall grass. They carried scanners, cameras, and small traps designed to monitor the predator without harming it. Nico's heart raced as they moved deeper into the waving green sea. Every rustle of the grass made them tense. Every flicker of movement could be the predator. "This place is beautiful," Mara said softly, brushing a hand across a glowing plant. "But it feels alive, almost like it is watching us." Nico nodded. "It is watching us. That is the thing that makes it dangerous. We are being studied." The team reached an open area where the grass thinned slightly. Nico knelt to inspect footprints pressed into the soft ground. They were large, like nothing on Earth, and carefully spaced. The predator did not run. It moved deliberately. Commander Rana crouched beside Nico. "We need to set the traps here. Keep the sensors on high alert. It may return tonight." Nico carefully placed small motion detectors and cameras. Each device was camouflaged with grass and glowing plants. They worked silently, making sure nothing disturbed the environment more than necessary. The predator had already learned about human technology. If they were careless, it could avoid detection completely. As the team worked, a faint rustling echoed through the grass. Nico froze. The sound was different from the wind. It was soft, calculated, and moving toward them. The team held their breath, watching the grass sway without seeing the predator. Suddenly, a shadow darted between the stalks. It was fast and silent, gliding across the field without breaking a single plant. Nico's eyes widened. The predator was closer than they had ever seen it. "It is here," Nico whispered. "Everyone stay calm and quiet." The creature paused near one of the newly set traps, examining it carefully. It tilted its head, studying the sensors and cameras. Nico realized it was not attacking. It was curious, testing whether the humans had learned anything from its previous visits. The predator touched one of the sensors with a claw. The device beeped softly. The creature jumped back, but only for a moment. Then it circled the equipment, inspecting it from different angles. Nico held their breath, watching every movement. Commander Rana whispered, "It is learning, just like we are. Do not provoke it." After several minutes, the predator moved away, vanishing into the tall grass like a shadow. Nico exhaled slowly, feeling both relief and fascination. The encounter had lasted only a few moments, but it revealed something important. The predator was intelligent and cautious. It did not attack carelessly. It studied and observed before making a move. The team returned to the colony as the sun set, discussing the day's events. Nico was both excited and concerned. It is not just a predator. It is strategic. It tests us, learns our patterns, and avoids danger. We need to think like it if we want to survive here. Commander Rana nodded. Exactly. We are visitors on this planet. We cannot rely on force alone. Intelligence, observation, and teamwork are our best weapons. That night, Nico stayed awake near the edge of the camp. They reviewed the footage from the cameras and motion detectors. The predator's movements were smooth, precise, and almost graceful. It moved through the grass without breaking a single stalk more than necessary. Nico realized that the creature had evolved perfectly for this environment. It was fast, silent, and intelligent, making it a formidable opponent. Suddenly, a rustle in the nearby grass caught Nico's attention. Two glowing eyes appeared for a brief moment before disappearing again. Nico's heart raced. The predator had returned, watching from the shadows. It did not attack. It waited, observing, learning. The following days were tense. The predator struck again, taking another unattended robot. Nico and the team noticed a pattern. The creature avoided humans, only targeting machines left alone. It seemed to test their defenses, measuring how they responded. Nico proposed a new plan. We need to set a controlled trap. Not to harm it, but to understand it better. We can observe its behavior and anticipate its moves. Commander Rana agreed cautiously. Prepare the plan carefully. We cannot afford mistakes. If it senses a threat, it will vanish and may not return for a long time. Nico and Mara worked to design a safe area where they could lure the predator with equipment and lights. The trap was simple, a field with cameras and sensors, with a pathway that would guide the predator into an observation zone. Everything was designed to respect the creature and avoid harm. The night of the trap's setup was quiet. The colony watched from a safe distance, lights dimmed to avoid startling the predator. Nico's heart pounded with anticipation. The grass swayed gently under the twin moons, casting strange shadows. Then movement appeared in the field. The predator glided toward the equipment, moving carefully, studying each step. It touched the sensors, examined the lights, and paused. Nico held their breath. The creature was behaving exactly as expected. It was cautious but curious, intelligent but respectful of danger. Slowly, it entered the observation zone. Cameras recorded every movement, every gesture. Nico felt a thrill. They were learning about the predator, and it was learning about them. For the first time, humans had a chance to understand the creature rather than simply fear it. The predator stayed in the zone for several minutes, then turned and disappeared into the tall grass. Nico exhaled, feeling a mix of relief and excitement. The encounter had been successful. They had observed the predator closely, gaining valuable knowledge. As the team returned to the camp, Nico felt a sense of accomplishment. Humanity had faced the unknown and adapted. The predator was not mindless. It was intelligent, cautious, and curious. Understanding it was the key to survival on Zyrus 7. That night, Nico sat alone, staring at the waving grass under the moons. Somewhere in the darkness, the silent predator moved with purpose, learning from every human action. Nico knew that this was only the beginning. The predator was patient, and its intelligence matched their own. Humanity would need courage, cleverness, and teamwork to survive in this strange, beautiful, and dangerous world. The hunt had begun, and the dance between human curiosity and alien intelligence was only starting. The morning sun rose over Zyrus 7, casting golden light across the endless green grass. Nico stood at the edge of the camp, holding a small scanner and notebook. The events of the past days had left the colonists tense but determined. The predator had shown intelligence and caution, testing humans without attacking directly. Nico was determined to understand it before it became a real threat. Commander Rane gathered the team. Today, we will focus on studying the predator's patterns. Observe, record, and do not engage unless necessary. Intelligence is our advantage. Nico nodded. They led a small team into the tall grass, scanning the ground and placing small sensors along likely paths. The tall stalks swayed gently, and glowing plants cast eerie shadows. Every sound, every movement, made Nico alert. After a while, Nico noticed a pattern. The predator avoided direct contact with humans. It only moved into areas where there were no people nearby, and it seemed to investigate objects humans had left behind. It was cautious, deliberate, and curious. Nico knelt to examine a set of tracks. These are different from the last ones, Nico said softly. It approaches slower here. It seems to pause and study each step. It is not just hunting. It is learning about us and our equipment. Mara crouched beside Nico. So it is like a student, watching our every move. Yes, Nico replied. And we are students too. We need to learn from it. If we understand its behavior, we can coexist safely and avoid unnecessary danger. The team continued deeper into the grass. Nico pointed out areas where the predator had clearly paused to examine something. Broken stalks, bent plants, and small patches of disturbed ground told a story. The predator was intelligent, not reckless. It did not attack without thinking. Commander Roness spoke quietly. We must respect it. The mistake would be to think we are stronger because we have technology. Strength alone will not win here. Observation, patience, and strategy are our allies. As the team moved through the grass, Nico set up a small observation area using hidden cameras and sensors. They left a small glowing device in the center, designed to attract the predator's attention without harming it. Then they retreated a safe distance to watch. Hours passed. The sun lowered in the sky, and shadows grew longer. Nico felt a mixture of excitement and worry. Suddenly, movement appeared at the edge of the observation zone. The predator had arrived. It moved slowly, carefully, circling the device. Its glowing eyes reflected the faint light. Nico watched through binoculars. The creature paused, sniffed the air, and touched the device lightly with a claw. Then it stepped back and studied the surrounding area, as if checking for danger. It is so cautious, Nico whispered. Every movement is calculated. It is aware of our presence even if we are hidden. The predator examined the device for several minutes. Then it moved to another sensor, tilting its head, studying the shape and light. It seemed to understand that the humans had left objects, and it was learning what they could do. Mara whispered, "It is not attacking. It wants to understand. Maybe it is curious about us rather than hunting us." Nico nodded. Exactly. It is like a puzzle. The predator is testing our knowledge, and we are testing ours. This is not a fight. It is an exchange of intelligence. As the sun set, the predator finally moved away, disappearing silently into the grass. Nico exhaled, feeling both relief and admiration. They had observed the creature up close and learned more about its behavior. Back at the camp, Nico analyzed the data from the cameras. The predator's movements were precise. It avoided danger, paused to study unfamiliar objects, and retreated when uncertain. It was a hunter, but it valued intelligence over brute force. Nico realized that humans had a chance not by being stronger but by being clever and patient. The next day, Nico suggested a new approach to Commander Ronette. We should focus on understanding it completely before trying to trap it or interact directly. If we anticipate its moves, we can prevent danger and maybe even communicate in a way it understands. Ronette nodded. Good. Observation first. Patience is key. If we rush, we may provoke it. Nico returned to the grass alone that afternoon. They walked slowly, carefully observing broken stalks, tracks, and patches of glowing plants. Each sign told a story. The predator moved with purpose, and each movement revealed intelligence. It was testing the humans, just as they were testing it. While examining a set of tracks, Nico noticed something remarkable. The predator had circled a sensor 3 times, pausing at different angles each time. It seemed to analyze the object from multiple perspectives. Nico realized it was not just intelligent but highly observant, capable of learning quickly. This is incredible, Nico whispered. It understands space and movement. It evaluates our actions before reacting. It is like watching a mind at work. Returning to the camp, Nico shared the observations. The colonists listened with fascination. They realized that the predator was not simply a threat. It was a teacher, in a way, showing them that survival on Zyrus 7 required careful thought, planning, and respect for the environment. The following days were spent improving the observation equipment. Nico suggested placing small glowing markers in the grass to guide the predator along certain paths. The goal was to study it more without causing fear. Each night, the predator interacted with the markers, circling them, examining them, and moving on. One evening, Nico stood on a small rise overlooking the glowing grass. They saw the predator move smoothly through the field. Its body was sleek, its movements elegant. Nico felt a mixture of awe and humility. Humans had come to Zira 7 expecting to conquer and explore, but the planet reminded them that intelligence, respect, and patience were the keys to survival. The colonists realized that this was a world unlike any other. The predator had shown them that danger could be met with thought and careful planning. Nico understood that their advantage lay not in technology or strength alone, but in the ability to adapt, observe, and learn. That night, Nico recorded detailed notes. Every movement, every behavior, and every pattern mattered. They knew that understanding the predator fully could prevent disaster and turn potential conflict into coexistence. The creature had tested humans, and humans had responded with intelligence. Somewhere in the dark grass, the silent predator waited. It moved with purpose, patient and aware, learning from every human action. Nico realized that the predator respected intelligence, strategy, and caution. It was not mindless, and it was not cruel. It was simply a creature adapted to its world, testing the intruders who had arrived in its home. Nico looked out over the swaying grass. They felt a new sense of responsibility. Humanity had arrived on Zira 7, but survival depended on understanding, respect, and cleverness. The predator had shown them the rules, and the humans were beginning to learn how to play the game. Tomorrow, the observation would continue. The hunt had changed. It was no longer just humans tracking the predator. Humans were learning to think like it, to anticipate it, and to survive. The first real understanding of Zira 7's guardian had begun. The sun rose slowly over Zira 7, casting soft light across the endless green grass. Nico and the team felt a sense of cautious anticipation. For days, they had studied the predator, observing its movements, learning its patterns, and recording every detail. Now, they knew the creature was intelligent, patient, and careful. But they had also learned that intelligence alone did not guarantee safety. Commander Rane gathered the colonists. "Today we face the possibility of direct contact," he said. "The predator has tested us for days. Now it may decide to challenge our presence. Stay calm. Work as a team. Use your knowledge." Nico nodded, feeling a mixture of fear and excitement. "We can handle this," they said. "We know its patterns, its caution, and its curiosity. We can use that to our advantage." The team moved into the tall grass, carrying sensors, cameras, and small light markers. Nico led the patrol, scanning the ground for tracks and disturbed plants. Every step was careful. Every rustle of the grass made hearts race. Suddenly, movement appeared ahead. Two glowing eyes reflected the morning light. The predator had arrived. It paused, watching the humans from behind the tall grass. Nico held their breath. This was the moment they had prepared for. The predator circled the patrol, moving quickly but silently. It tested the distance between humans and their equipment, measuring reactions. Nico realized that it was not attacking yet. It wanted to observe, to challenge, and to learn. Commander Rane whispered, "Hold your positions. Do not provoke it. We need to remain calm and think carefully." Nico watched closely. The predator's body moved with incredible precision. Each step was deliberate. It paused near a sensor, touching it lightly with a claw, then backed away. It seemed to understand the humans were watching. Its glowing eyes reflected intelligence and curiosity. Suddenly, it darted toward a small scouting robot left unattended. In a flash, the predator grabbed it and disappeared into the grass. The team held their positions, noting the creature's behavior. Nico quickly analyzed the pattern. The predator avoided humans but took objects it saw as opportunities. We can predict its moves, Nico said quietly. It is cautious but driven by curiosity. If we guide it, we can control the encounter without danger. The team moved carefully, using markers and lights to direct the predator. Nico observed every reaction, noting which tactics caused hesitation and which attracted attention. The predator responded differently to each stimulus, showing adaptability and learning ability. As the sun climbed higher, the predator returned, moving along the guided path created by the team. It paused near a camera, sniffed the air, and circled a glowing marker. Nico felt a thrill. The predator was behaving exactly as they predicted. Intelligence, observation, and careful planning had given humans an advantage. The first direct clash began when the predator suddenly darted between two colonists. Nico and Mara froze, knowing that any sudden movement could trigger a reaction. But the predator did not attack. It tested them, moving with speed and precision, evaluating the humans as if they were part of its environment. It is testing us, Nico whispered. Not attacking, but seeing how we react. Commander Rana nodded. Stay calm. Use what we have learned. Do not panic. We can handle this. The predator paused, watching the humans closely. Then it made a sudden move toward a trap set for observation. The trap snapped shut lightly, making a soft click. The predator jumped back, startled but unharmed. Nico realized that even in its intelligence, it respected caution and responded to unexpected changes. The humans used the moment to their advantage. Nico signaled the team to guide the predator along a path away from the camp using markers and subtle sounds. Slowly, carefully, they moved it toward an open area where cameras and sensors could record it safely. The predator followed, circling the open field. It paused frequently, tilting its head and sniffing the air. Nico observed the movements closely, recording every detail. They realized that the predator respected cleverness and strategy. Brute force would not work here. Survival required intelligence and patience. After several minutes, the predator stopped near a glowing marker. It sniffed, touched it with a claw, and stepped back. Nico and the team held their positions, silent and still. The creature studied the humans, then slowly backed away into the tall grass, disappearing from sight. The first clash was over. The humans had not been attacked. They had observed the predator closely and guided it using knowledge, strategy, and patience. Nico felt a sense of accomplishment. Humanity had faced the unknown and adapted. They had turned potential danger into an opportunity to learn. Back at the camp, the team gathered to discuss the encounter. Nico shared detailed observations. The predator was intelligent, cautious, and adaptable. It tested the humans without attacking, showing curiosity and strategic thinking. We learned a lot today, Nico said. It responds to guidance, respects caution, and observes carefully. We can anticipate its moves if we remain patient and clever. Commander Rana nodded. This encounter shows that strength alone will not keep us safe. Intelligence, planning, and teamwork are our true advantages. Humanity has survived this world so far because we can think, adapt, and work together. Over the next few days, Nico and the team continued to study the predator's behavior. They set up observation zones, guided its movements using markers, and recorded every detail. The predator continued to respond carefully, avoiding humans while investigating objects and markers left behind. Nico realized something important. The predator was not hostile in the way humans imagined. It was protective of its territory, intelligent, and curious. It challenged intruders to test their abilities, but it did not attack without reason. Survival on Zyrus 7 depended on understanding the predator, not fighting it blindly. One evening, Nico sat at the edge of the camp, watching the tall grass sway under the twin moons. They reflected on the first clash. Humanity had faced the unknown and learned. The predator had tested them, and humans had responded with intelligence and patience. Somewhere in the dark grass, the silent predator moved with purpose, aware of the humans' presence and learning from their actions. Nico understood that the future of the colony depended on observation, strategy, and respect. Survival was not about fear or strength alone. It was about thinking, adapting, and understanding the world around them. The first clash had shown that humans were not weak. They had intelligence, curiosity, and the ability to learn. Zyrus 7 was a world of mystery, danger, and wonder. The predator had challenged them, and humanity had answered. Tomorrow would bring new tests. The predator would continue to learn, and humans would continue to adapt. The dance between alien intelligence and human ingenuity had begun, and neither side would forget the lessons of the first clash. The morning sun bathed Zyrus 7 in golden light, making the endless green grass shimmer. Nico woke early, their mind racing with plans. For days, the colony had observed the predator. They had learned about its intelligence, patience, and caution. Now, it was time to use that knowledge to take the fight to the creature's territory, not to harm it but to understand it fully and secure the colony's safety. Commander Rana called the team together. We have learned much about the predator. Today we will apply that knowledge. We will guide it, observe it, and prepare for direct interaction. Stay alert and work as one. Intelligence and strategy are our greatest weapons. Nico felt a thrill of excitement mixed with nervousness. They had studied the predator carefully, noting every movement, pause, and reaction. They believed the humans could anticipate the creature's actions, outsmart it, and create a safe plan for the colony. The team entered the tall grass carrying sensors, cameras, and light markers. The grass reached higher than their heads, swaying in the gentle breeze. Every sound, every rustle, made hearts beat faster. Nico led the patrol, scanning for tracks and disturbed plants. They set small sensors along predicted paths, arranging glowing markers to guide the predator toward a controlled observation zone. Hours passed. The team moved carefully, noting tracks and patterns. Nico knelt to examine recent paw prints. The predator had passed this area the night before, moving deliberately, avoiding obstacles, and pausing frequently. It is careful, Nico whispered. Every step is deliberate. It is testing the environment and learning from it. We can use that knowledge to guide it safely. Suddenly, movement appeared at the edge of the observation zone. Two glowing eyes reflected the sunlight. The predator had arrived. It paused, scanning the area, observing the humans and the markers. Nico held their breath, watching closely. The predator moved along the guided path, pausing at sensors and markers. It circled the observation zone, sniffing the air and touching objects lightly with its claws. Nico noticed patterns in its behavior. It avoided direct confrontation, but it tested humans' reactions and the placement of objects. It was calculating and deliberate. This is our chance, Nico whispered. We can guide it fully into the zone and observe its behavior safely. The predator advanced slowly, following the path designed by the team. Nico signaled subtle adjustments with hand gestures, guiding the creature without startling it. Every movement was careful. Every reaction was recorded. The predator paused, tilted its head, and studied the humans. Nico realized it was aware of their presence and intelligence. The creature moved to the center of the observation zone, pausing to examine a glowing marker. Nico and the team held their positions, silent and still. The predator sniffed, circled, and stepped back. It seemed to evaluate not only the objects but also the human's behavior. Suddenly, the predator darted toward a sensor, testing it with precision. The device beeped softly. The predator jumped back, startled but unharmed. It circled the area again, cautious and alert. Nico realized that the creature respected caution and intelligence. Direct force or reckless movements would not succeed. Guide it slowly, Commander Rana whispered. Do not rush. Use what we know. The team adjusted markers slightly, leading the predator toward an open area where cameras and sensors could record its behavior fully. The creature followed, moving with grace and precision. Nico observed every detail, noting the way it paused, circled, and evaluated the environment. Finally, the predator stopped at the center of the open area. It paused, sniffing the air, then looked directly at Nico. Their eyes met for a brief moment. Nico felt a connection, an understanding that this was not a mindless creature. It was intelligent, aware, and capable of learning. The predator then moved slowly toward the edge of the observation zone, testing the humans again. It circled once, touched a marker, and backed away. Nico realized that the creature was learning about their intentions, just as they had learned about its behavior. Hours passed as the team observed silently. The predator interacted with the markers and sensors, exploring, testing, and retreating. Nico noted each movement in their notebook, analyzing the intelligence, strategy, and curiosity of the creature. "This is remarkable," Nico whispered. "It is not hostile without reason. It evaluates, adapts, and learns. We can anticipate its actions if we remain patient and clever." As the sun lowered, the predator finally retreated into the tall grass, moving silently and with purpose. Nico and the team followed cautiously, ensuring it remained safe and unthreatened. The encounter had been successful. The humans had guided the predator, observed it closely, and learned from it without harm. Back at the camp, the team discussed the day's events. Nico explained that the predator respected intelligence and strategy. It tested intruders, but it did not attack recklessly. Survival depended on understanding and adapting to its behavior. Commander Rana nodded. "This encounter shows that humans can survive here if we work together, think carefully, and respect the rules of this world. Strength alone is not enough. Observation and planning are our greatest tools." The next days were spent improving observation zones and refining guidance techniques. Nico suggested placing small reflective markers and lights to influence the predator's path, allowing humans to study it safely. The predator continued to respond carefully, avoiding direct contact while investigating the objects and lights. One evening, Nico stood alone at a small rise, watching the grass sway under the twin moons. The predator appeared briefly, moving through the glowing plants with grace and precision. Nico realized that the creature had learned from humans as well. It understood that the colony was intelligent, cautious, and capable of strategy. Humanity had survived Zyra 7's challenges so far because of curiosity, intelligence, and careful planning. The predator had tested them, and humans had adapted, turning potential danger into understanding. Nico recorded notes about patterns, pauses, and reactions. They realized that the predator was not just a threat but a teacher, revealing the rules of its world. By learning and respecting these rules, humans could coexist safely and even thrive. The colony slept under the soft glow of the plants, unaware of the predator moving silently in the grass. It had observed humans closely, understanding their intelligence and patience. Nico knew that the next encounters would test both species further. The predator was patient, and humanity had learned the importance of strategy, observation, and teamwork. The balance had shifted. Humans were no longer merely reacting to danger. They were learning, anticipating, and guiding the predator's movements. Survival on Zyra 7 depended on understanding the world, respecting its creatures, and using intelligence wisely. The silent predator moved through the tall grass, cautious yet aware, observing the humans and learning from them. Nico knew that the next stage would be even more challenging, but humanity had taken its first true step toward coexistence. Knowledge, patience, and cleverness had turned the tide. Tomorrow, the predator would test the humans again, but Nico was ready. They had learned that understanding the mind of the unknown was more powerful than fear or force. Zyra 7 was a world of wonder, mystery, and danger, and humanity had begun to claim its place with wisdom and care. The silent predator, patient and intelligent, waited in the grass, knowing that the humans had begun to think like it. The game had changed, and the dance between alien intelligence and human ingenuity was entering its final, decisive stages. The twin suns of Zyrus 7 rose slowly, casting long golden shadows across the endless fields of tall, green grass. Nico stood at the edge of the colony, scanning the horizon. The events of the past days had changed everything. Humanity had faced the predator, observed it, and learned its patterns. The humans had survived encounters through intelligence, observation, and careful planning. Now it was time to take the next step, coexistence. Commander Rane gathered the team. We have learned much about the predator. It tests, observes, and respects intelligence. Today we will attempt to establish understanding. Patience is our strength. We must remain calm, and we must respect its space. Nico nodded. They felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. For days, they had studied every movement, every reaction, and every pattern. Now, they would try to communicate through behavior rather than words. It was a dangerous world, but intelligence and patience had become their allies. The team moved into the tall grass carefully. They carried sensors, cameras, and small glowing markers, designed to guide the predator without causing harm. The grass swayed gently in the wind, casting long shadows that seemed alive. Every rustle and flicker of light made the humans alert. Hours passed with no sign of the predator. Nico began to wonder if it had retreated deeper into its territory. Then, at the edge of the observation zone, two glowing eyes appeared. The predator had arrived. It paused, observing the humans from behind the grass. Nico held their breath. This was the moment of truth. The predator had tested the humans before, but today would decide whether understanding and coexistence were possible. Slowly, Nico and the team arranged the markers and lights to create a clear path through the observation zone. They moved carefully, using gentle gestures to signal that they posed no threat. The predator studied them silently, tilting its head and stepping cautiously forward. It approached the glowing markers, sniffing and touching them lightly with its claws. Then it paused, looking directly at Nico. Their eyes met, and Nico felt an unexpected sense of connection. The predator was intelligent and aware, evaluating not just objects but the humans themselves. Nico whispered, "We are not your enemies. We want to understand, not fight." The predator stepped closer, circling the humans with slow, deliberate movements. It tested their reactions, nudging a marker with its nose, then stepping back. Nico noticed subtle signs of recognition. The creature remembered previous encounters and seemed to acknowledge the humans' intelligence and caution. Hours passed as the humans observed and guided the predator carefully. They recorded its movements, studied its reactions, and adjusted markers to allow safe interaction. Slowly, a pattern emerged. The predator responded to intelligence and strategy, avoiding humans when uncertain and retreating if it felt threatened. Nico realized that coexistence was possible. The predator was not cruel or mindless. It was a guardian of its territory, curious, cautious, and intelligent. By understanding its behavior, humans could ensure safety while allowing the creature to live freely in its environment. Commander Rane spoke quietly. "This is it. The predator is learning from us, and we are learning from it. Respect and intelligence are our tools. Fear is useless here." The predator moved closer to the humans, circling the observation zone once more. Then it paused, sniffed the air, and stepped toward a marker. Nico stayed still, holding out a hand gently. For a brief moment, the predator seemed to hesitate, then touched the marker lightly and retreated a few steps. It was a small gesture, but for Nico, it was proof of progress. The predator recognized caution and respect. Humanity had proven its intelligence, and in return, the creature allowed interaction without hostility. As the twin suns began to set, the predator retreated into the taller grass, moving with grace and precision. Nico and the team followed cautiously, maintaining a safe distance. The creature paused one last time, its glowing eyes meeting Nico's, and then it disappeared from sight. Back at the colony, the team celebrated quietly. They had achieved something remarkable. Humanity had faced a creature far stronger, faster, and more intelligent than expected. Yet through patience, observation, and cleverness, they had established understanding and respect. Nico recorded detailed notes in the field journal. Every movement, gesture, and reaction was documented. They understood that the predator's intelligence demanded careful study. Survival on Zyrus 7 was no longer just about defense. It was about coexistence, learning, and adaptation. Over the following days, the humans and the predator continued a careful dance. The creature explored areas near the colony but never attacked. The humans maintained observation zones and markers, learning how to anticipate the predator's movements. Trust grew slowly, built on mutual respect and understanding. Nico watched from a small rise, noting how the predator interacted with the environment. It moved silently, purposefully, and intelligently. Each movement reflected observation and learning. Nico realized that this world was not merely dangerous. It was alive, full of creatures that demanded respect and careful thought. Humanity had begun to adapt, not by force, but by understanding. One evening, Nico stood at the edge of the grass under the glow of the bioluminescent plants. The predator appeared briefly, moving gracefully through the field. For the first time, it seemed to acknowledge the humans as equals. There was no aggression, only recognition and awareness. Nico felt a sense of hope. Humanity had arrived on Zyrus 7 as strangers in a strange land. They had faced danger, observed intelligence, and adapted. Now, humans and the predator could coexist peacefully. The colony could thrive without fear, guided by intelligence, strategy, and respect for the world around them. Commander Rana approached. We have survived, learned, and adapted. This is a world of challenges, but also of beauty. Intelligence and patience are our greatest allies. Zyrus 7 has taught us that survival depends on understanding, not force. Nico smiled. We have more to learn, but we have proven that humans can meet the unknown and grow stronger. This predator has shown us the rules. Now we can live here, together, without conflict. The twin suns set, casting long shadows across the grass. The colony settled for the night, safe and confident. Somewhere in the tall grass, the silent predator moved with purpose and intelligence, aware of the humans and learning from their actions. Both species had reached an unspoken understanding. Nico recorded the final notes of the day. Humanity had faced Zyrus 7's guardian, learned its patterns, and gained respect. Survival was no longer a struggle of fear or strength. It was a dance of intelligence, patience, and coexistence. As the moons rose, glowing softly over the grasslands, Nico realized that the colony's place on Zyrus 7 was secure. The predator had accepted the humans as part of its world. The humans had adapted to a strange and dangerous environment. Together, they would share the planet, bound by respect, understanding, and the intelligence that had allowed both species to survive. The silent predator slipped back into the shadows of the grass, moving with grace and purpose. Nico watched in quiet awe. Humanity had arrived, not by conquering, but by learning, observing, and respecting the rules of this world. Survival had been achieved through patience, cleverness, and understanding. Zyrus 7 was no longer just a dangerous alien world. It was a place where humans and the silent predator could coexist. The story of survival, respect, and intelligence had reached its first true conclusion. The dance between human curiosity and alien intelligence would continue, but both had learned the value of coexistence, and both had gained something far greater than victory: mutual understanding.